7 a.m. on production day. Better get going. All I need is a script. I need some coffee. The work for an episode of KLDCS TV News starts about a week ahead. We have a team meeting with everyone involved where we brainstorm new segments and bounce ideas around. Sleeping all over the place. Got my coffee, time to head downstairs. I try to line up as much content as possible and connect with different students that are making the segments. Alright, so I got my coffee, made it down to my workshop where I got my little office set up here, and time to see what we got in store for Wednesday's show. The day before we air an episode is production day. I start around 7 a.m. with a cup of coffee in hand. I create the outline for the show and write a script for Molly. The script also has editing notes for Joe that he may or may not read. I make the script in our shared drive so Joe and Molly both have access to it. Once the script is ready, I'll put a message in the Discord team chat to let them know. I'll give Joe a heads up if there's something he can get started on ahead of time. We've really enjoyed having Helyn Monroe help out with graphics. Today, for example, we wanted a graphic that shows how the breakfast program now accepts walk-ins. I let Helyn know on Discord what we needed, and she sent me a concept within 20 minutes and a final copy by lunch. It's amazing how fast she can put together really cool art. Once things are passed over to the students, I can mostly go about my day, but I keep an eye on the Discord in case there's any problems.
Hi, it's Rebecca Waldron. I basically make the music you hear in the background of the news. I was introduced to the team when Joe asked my music class for music. I was very interested and intrigued by making music for the news, and I had to do more. I'm going to show you how I make my tracks and some of the planning that goes on behind it. So, the track that you can hear behind me right now I actually made for the spring giveaway. I'm not sure if they used it or not, but basically I just put the tracks together by finding either loops or making them myself on GarageBand. As you can see, it's all the layers that I have. You don't want to put too many layers or any high-pitched sounds, or it will take away from the people who are talking and it will just be really distracting, and you don't want that. One of the hardest things about making background music for the news is trying not to lose your style, but also making music in other people's style as well. Like Joe and Mr. Kurz both have very different styles, and it's just a little bit hard sometimes to make something that both Joe and Mr. Kurz want, but usually I can do that. Sometimes it's easier for me just to use loops, as with this one. I normally use just synth, but I also take anyone from like any instruments. I just click on it and pick one that I think would be nice. Like for example this one, I'll just take it and drag it into anything. It doesn't match this song obviously, but I can make it shorter, longer, place it where I want, and it'll play in the background with all the other tracks. It's really difficult to try and line them up sometimes, but I think it's pretty cool. Where I get most of my feedback from is on our Discord chat. Basically in that we have our own little section where we talk about music. If somebody needs a certain song for a segment, then they tell me in that chat and I will make it, and they tell me if they like it, if they need something to be changed. But that's where I get most of my feedback from, is in that chat on Discord. Most of the time I have to make my songs longer or shorter. I use the little plus sign in the corner to do that. If you swipe from the side where all of like the little icons are, you can change how loud or how quiet a track is, to make it sound a little bit better. And that's pretty much it. That's how I make the background music for the news.
Good morning, everyone. It's Wednesday, May the 20th, and you're watching KLDCS TV News. So, now that Mr. Kurz has told me that the script is ready, it's time for me to start getting prepared to film. First, of course, I do a little stage makeup, so I don't look like I just woke up. I gotta look at least a little presentable for the camera. And my mic's in the right spot. Once I'm done painting my face, I go to my computer and look at the script. While I read it, I look at the clips people have sent in, so I can add in my reactions to them and revise the script to what I see fit. On Wednesday, I had to write a little bit about Rob Ford's announcement as it was made later in the day and Mr. Kurtz couldn't have written about it prior. If I ever have any concerns while editing content in the script, I send a message to the team on Discord. They respond fast, most of the time. Once I think that the script is perfect, I start to set up my homemade teleprompter. I copy a couple of the paragraphs at a time into this website and it scrolls the words for me so I can read them as I film. Then, to elevate my computer, or teleprompter we'll say, so that it's behind the camera, eye level, so it looks like I'm looking right in the camera while I'm reading the words, I put 3 or 4 pillows on my pink chair, and then add the cherry on top, of course, my computer. It's time for me to start filming. Here's some footage of me filming behind the scenes. Sometimes it can take from 45 minutes to 2 hours to film one episode. Depends how much content there is. Once I've filmed all that I needed to film, I have to transfer all of my videos to Joseph McInnes, our editor. This can take a while as the video files that I'm sending are quite big. So I use WeTransfer or I drop them in a file that we both share in Dropbox.
Each editing session starts with me setting up my computer and loading up Premiere Pro, the main editing software I use when making these videos. After getting the clips from Molly, I download them to my computer where I can start working on them. I also grab everything from our Google Drive. Finally, before the session starts, I grab some caffeine. Some episodes require more than others. How I edit each video is somewhat of a process I keep for all the episodes. I start by taking the clips, trimming them to the correct lengths, importing them to the timeline, and organizing it. After doing that, it's time for the fun part, adding the effects. I sometimes use upwards of 10-15 different effects for each video, ranging from speed and audio timing, text effects, visual effects, and making Spike seem like he's actually there. This part takes the longest as it's tedious and different for each episode. The last thing I do is add the transitions before giving it a final review and adding the intro and outro. I used a combination of different apps to make the intro and outro, including Adobe Illustrator, After Effects, and Premiere Pro. The same process goes for making the transitions. They took a while, but once they were finished, it's as easy as changing a few numbers and exporting it to the newest episode. My favorite part about editing is definitely getting to watch Molly's bloopers.
Whoa, I'm not very happy right now, right? Because I've been filming and the mic no work. Prior to your visit, you need to go and
I mean, come on, they're pretty funny. After a 2 to 4 hour session, the timeline will look like this. Wednesday's episode was actually a shorter one. I finish off the session by uploading the video to YouTube. While I wait for it to post, I begin to work on the thumbnail. Just like the intro, I made a template beforehand and now only have to insert images and text before exporting.
Oh boy, a new episode.
I like that part. Look, you guys, it's rolling!
Una tranquilla serata di mercoledì da leoni e noi stiamo guardando KLDCS ed è bellissimo, c'è anche nostra figlia.